Hey there, health warriors. Welcome back to our channel. We're so glad you're here because today we're diving into something super important, something that affects a lot of us as we age. We're talking about fruit. That's right, those colorful, juicy snacks we all love. We've grown up hearing how healthy fruit is, and honestly, that's mostly true. But here's the twist. Some fruits might carry hidden risks, especially for older adults. That's right. What seems like a healthy habit could have unexpected consequences when it comes to cancer risks in the elderly. But don't toss out your fruit bowl just yet. Hang tight. Let's be crystal clear. Eating fruit doesn't cause cancer. In fact, fruit is still a big part of a healthy lifestyle. But like anything, too much, or the wrong type, can have downsides, especially as we age. Our bodies change, and that means the way we process even healthy foods can shift. As we get older, our metabolism slows, our cells recover more slowly, and our immune systems aren't what they used to be. That means foods we've always loved can affect us in new ways. And with fruit, things like natural sugars, pesticides, acidity, and how it interacts with medications can become more important to consider. So today, we're uncovering the top 10 fruits that might not be as harmless as they seem. Eaten in excess or without awareness, they could potentially raise certain health concerns for seniors. But don't worry, we're not here to scare you. We're here to help you make smart, empowered choices. Whether you're caring for aging parents, thinking about your own long-term health, or just love staying informed, you're in the right place. We're breaking down the science behind each fruit, what to watch out for, and how to keep enjoying them just a little more mindfully. All right? Ready to peel back the truth about fruit? Let's get into it. Starting with a sweet treat, grapes. Who doesn't love popping a handful of these juicy little gems? Grapes are delicious, refreshing, and packed with natural sugars that give you a quick energy boost. They're a go-to snack, a favorite in fruit salads, and a classic pairing with cheese. But here's what many people don't realize, especially when it comes to elderly health. Grapes are one of the most heavily pesticide-treated fruits out there. In fact, grapes often make the dirty dozen list, a ranking of fruits and veggies that carry the highest pesticide residue. Why? Because their thin skins don't offer much protection from chemical sprays, and those pesticides don't just rinse off with a quick splash of water. These chemicals are used to keep grapes looking flawless during transportation and storage, but unfortunately, they can build up in the body over time, especially with regular consumption. Now, for most younger, healthy adults, our bodies can process and flush out small amounts of toxins more easily. But for seniors, it's a different story. As we age, our detox systems slow down, and our immune defenses weaken, which means chemical exposure can take a bigger toll. Some studies have even suggested that long-term exposure to certain pesticides may increase the risk of cancer, particularly for individuals with already vulnerable immune systems. This doesn't mean you need to cut grapes out of your life completely. They still offer great health benefits like antioxidants, especially resveratrol in red grapes, vitamins, and hydration. But it does mean we should be a little more mindful about how we eat them. So here's the takeaway. Always wash your grapes thoroughly, even if they look clean. Better yet, choose organic grapes whenever possible to reduce your exposure to harmful pesticides. And if you're caring for elderly loved ones, this is a small but powerful step you can take to protect their long-term health. It's not about fear, it's about being smart with your choices. A little extra effort can go a long way when it comes to turning your snacks into safe, healthy fuel for your body, at any age. Number 2. Apples. The iconic fruit of health, right? You've heard the phrase a million times. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And yes, there's a lot of truth to that. Apples are packed with dietary fiber, vitamin C, and antioxidants. They're easy to carry, fun to snack on, and have a crisp sweetness that makes them a favorite for people of all ages. But here's the thing, even healthy fruits like apples can come with some hidden concerns, especially for seniors. One of the biggest issues? Sugar. While apples contain natural sugars, mainly fructose, they still have a fairly high sugar content, especially sweeter varieties like Fuji or Honeycrisp. Eating one apple is fine, but when apples become a go-to snack multiple times a day, that sugar can start to add up quickly, especially if you're not balancing it out with fiber, protein, or healthy fats. For older adults, this is especially important because our metabolism slows down as we age. Our bodies become less efficient at processing sugar, and that can lead to spikes in blood sugar levels, increased inflammation, and even insulin resistance over time. Chronic inflammation is a known risk factor in many diseases, including some types of cancer, particularly in people who already have underlying conditions like diabetes or cardiovascular issues. What's more, just like grapes, apples are also often treated with pesticides, especially non-organic ones. Those glossy, picture-perfect apples on the grocery shelf might look appealing, but they often carry residues of chemical sprays that can build up in the body if not properly washed or peeled. That said, don't let this scare you away from apples altogether. They're still a fantastic fruit when eaten in moderation. The soluble fiber in apples, particularly pectin, supports digestive health and can help lower cholesterol. The antioxidants, including quercetin, have been shown to combat oxidative stress, which is a good thing when it comes to aging and cancer prevention. Here are some tips to keep apples as a healthy part of your routine. Stick to one apple a day, especially if you're watching sugar intake. Choose organic apples when possible to reduce pesticide exposure. Try less sweet varieties like Granny Smith for lower sugar content. Pair apple slices with nuts or nut butter to slow sugar absorption. So yes, apples are still a health hero, but like any hero, they work best when part of a balanced team. Number 3. Bananas, nature's energy bar. Bananas are one of the world's most beloved fruits, and it's easy to see why. They're portable, naturally sweet, budget-friendly, and packed with nutrition. One of their biggest nutritional highlights? Potassium. This essential mineral is key for heart health, nerve function, and muscle activity, making bananas a go-to snack for people of all ages, especially seniors. But here's something you might not realize. Too much potassium can actually be a bad thing, particularly for older adults. As we age, kidney function often declines, especially in those managing chronic health issues like diabetes, hypertension, or kidney disease. That means the body may have a harder time clearing out excess potassium, which can lead to a condition called hyperkalemia, a potassium overload. This is especially concerning for people on certain medications like ACE inhibitors, potassium-sparing diuretics, or heart meds, which can already raise potassium levels. Too much potassium in the bloodstream can cause irregular heartbeats, muscle fatigue, or, in serious cases, even cardiac complications. Now, what does this have to do with cancer risk? While potassium itself isn't a direct carcinogen, kidney dysfunction and chronic inflammation tied to electrolyte imbalances can weaken the body's ability to detoxify and repair itself, possibly playing a role in long-term cancer risk. The connection isn't always direct, but it's enough to warrant a little caution, especially for older adults already dealing with underlying conditions. That said, don't ban bananas. They're still a great source of fiber, vitamin B6, and natural energy. It's just important to treat them as a once-in-a-while snack, not a daily habit, especially for those watching potassium levels. Here's how to keep bananas a safe part of your diet. Stick to one banana a day or less, depending on your health status and medication. Pair them with healthy fats or proteins, like nut butter or yogurt, to slow sugar absorption. If you're on potassium-sensitive medications, talk to your doctor about safe intake. Mix up your fruit routine. Don't let bananas be your only go-to. Bottom line, bananas can absolutely be part of a healthy lifestyle. But when it comes to elderly health, especially with medications in the mix, moderation really matters. Number 4, pineapples. Delicious, tropical, and packed with vitamin C. Just one bite of pineapple, and it's like a burst of sunshine in your mouth. It's sweet, tangy, refreshing, and often associated with vacations and beach vibes. Plus, pineapples are loaded with vitamin C, a powerful antioxidant that supports the immune system, helps fight inflammation, and aids in collagen production for healthy skin and joints. Sounds like a win, right? But hold on. Pineapple isn't for everyone, especially when we're talking about elderly digestion. One of the biggest concerns? Acidity. Pineapples are naturally high in citric acid and bromelain, an enzyme that breaks down proteins. While that might sound helpful for digestion, it can also irritate the stomach lining in people with sensitive systems. For older adults, many of whom already deal with acid reflux, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or heartburn, pineapple can actually make things worse. Over time, repeated exposure to high levels of stomach acid can damage the lining of the esophagus. This kind of chronic irritation and inflammation can lead to a condition called Barrett's esophagus, which is considered a precancerous state. In some cases, it may increase the risk of esophageal cancer, especially if the acid reflux goes unmanaged for years. Now, this doesn't mean you have to say goodbye to your favorite tropical fruit. Pineapple still has great health benefits, like aiding digestion, reducing inflammation, and giving your immune system a boost. It's just important to treat it with a bit of caution, especially for seniors who may already be dealing with digestive sensitivity. Here's how to enjoy pineapple without the discomfort. Eat it in small portions and don't overdo it, especially on an empty stomach. Avoid canned pineapple in syrup, which adds extra sugar and can worsen acidity. Pair pineapple with low-acid foods to help balance your meal. If acid reflux is already a problem, it might be best to enjoy pineapple only occasionally or consult a doctor before adding it to your diet regularly. Pineapple may taste like summer in a bite, but for those with acid sensitivity or gastrointestinal issues, it's one to handle with care. Like all fruits, it can be a part of a healthy diet, but moderation and timing make all the difference. Number 5, strawberries, possibly the cutest fruit on the planet. They're bright red, heart-shaped, and irresistibly sweet. Whether blended into smoothies, tossed into salads, or dipped in chocolate, strawberries are a fan favorite. They're packed with vitamin C, fiber, and powerful antioxidants, making them a nutritional win on paper. But despite their adorable appearance, strawberries carry a lesser-known risk. They're one of the most common fruit allergens out there. That's right. These tiny treats can cause unexpected allergic reactions, and the effects can be even more significant for older adults. As we age, our immune systems can become less precise, meaning even mild or delayed food allergies might trigger stronger or more unusual symptoms than they would in younger years. Strawberry allergies can cause more than just an itchy mouth or a few hives. For some seniors, they might lead to digestive distress, swelling, skin irritation, or even respiratory symptoms. And while a reaction might seem mild at first, repeated exposure can contribute to something more serious: chronic inflammation. Why is that a problem? Because inflammation, especially when it lingers over time, has been linked to an increased risk of a range of health issues, including some cancers. The body's constant low-level stress response can wear down its defenses, making it harder to fight off illness and cellular damage. For someone who already has underlying conditions, this can be even more concerning. Now, don't panic. This doesn't mean strawberries are off the menu forever. Most people tolerate them just fine, and they do have some amazing health benefits. But it's worth paying attention to how they affect you or your loved ones, especially in older age. Here are a few smart strawberry tips. Pay attention to signs of irritation, itchy lips, upset stomach, rashes, or fatigue after eating them. If symptoms show up consistently, talk to a doctor or allergist about testing. Since strawberries often carry pesticide residue, try to buy organic when you can. Enjoy them in moderation, and pair them with soothing foods like yogurt or whole grains. So yes, strawberries are sweet, tasty, and nutrient-rich, but even the most charming fruit can have a downside. When it comes to elderly health, awareness is everything. Number 6, avocados, everyone's favorite superfood. They're creamy, trendy, and show up on everything from toast to smoothies to salads. And it's easy to see why. Avocados are a true powerhouse when it comes to healthy fats, particularly monounsaturated fats, which are great for heart health, brain function, and reducing inflammation. They're also loaded with fiber, potassium, folate, and other important nutrients that support overall well-being, especially as we age. But here's the catch. Just because something is healthy doesn't mean more is always better. Avocados are calorie-dense. That means that even though they're packed with good fats, they're still high in calories, about 250 to 300 calories in a single large avocado. For elderly individuals who are less active or have a slower metabolism, eating avocados too frequently without adjusting the rest of their diet can contribute to unintended weight gain or even obesity over time. And why is that a concern? Because obesity is a well-established risk factor for several types of cancer, including breast, colon, pancreatic, and liver cancers. Excess fat tissue can lead to hormonal imbalances, chronic low-grade inflammation, and insulin resistance, all of which can create an environment in the body that may promote the development of cancerous cells. Now, don't get us wrong. Avocados do not cause cancer, and they absolutely have a place in a healthy diet. In fact, for many older adults, they can be especially helpful in supporting brain health and cholesterol levels. But the key word here is moderation. Here's how to enjoy avocados wisely. Stick to about 1/4 to 1/2 of an avocado per day, depending on the rest of your diet. Watch out for avocado overload in meals, avocado toast for breakfast, guacamole at lunch, and an avocado salad for dinner adds up quickly. Pair avocados with lean proteins and lots of veggies to create a balanced meal. If weight is a concern or your loved one has cancer risk factors, consider tracking portion sizes more intentionally. So, yes, avocados are totally deserving of their superfood status. But even the healthiest foods can become problematic when eaten in excess, especially for aging bodies that need fewer calories but just as many nutrients. Balance is everything. Number 7, citrus fruits. Zesty, refreshing, and packed with immune-boosting power. From oranges and grapefruits to lemons and limes, citrus fruits are a staple in many healthy diets. They're rich in vitamin C, offer a refreshing burst of flavor, and are loaded with antioxidants that support immune health, reduce inflammation, and promote skin and tissue repair. For many, a morning orange or a squeeze of lemon in water feels like the perfect healthy start. But here's something that often flies under the radar. Citrus fruits can interfere with certain medications, and this is especially important for elderly individuals who may be on several prescriptions. Take grapefruit, for example. It contains natural compounds called furanocoumarins, which interfere with CYP3A4, a key liver enzyme that helps the body break down many drugs. When this enzyme is blocked, medications can build up in the bloodstream, leading to stronger effects and more intense side effects than intended. This becomes particularly risky with medications like blood thinners, cholesterol-lowering statins, anti-anxiety drugs, and even some cancer treatments. Over time, these elevated medication levels can stress the liver, disrupt immune balance, and contribute to chronic inflammation, a factor that's increasingly linked to a higher risk of cancer and other serious illnesses. In older adults, where the body already processes medications more slowly, these interactions can be especially impactful. Even a simple glass of grapefruit juice could interfere with how well medications work, or how safely they're processed. That doesn't mean you have to cut citrus out completely. The key is being mindful of how and when you're consuming it, especially in relation to medications. Here's how to stay citrus smart. Check with your doctor or pharmacist about food interactions, particularly if grapefruit is part of your routine. If you need to avoid grapefruit, swap it out for other vitamin C-rich fruits like kiwi, strawberries, or papaya. Be cautious with citrus juices, which are often more concentrated in the compounds that cause interference. Enjoy citrus in moderation, not every single day, if you're on medications known to interact. Citrus fruits are still fantastic immune boosters, but for seniors managing medications, they're worth a second thought. When it comes to food and meds, awareness is your best ally. Number 8. Cherries. Sweet, juicy, and oh so satisfying. Cherries are one of those fruits that feel like a treat and a health food all in one. They're packed with antioxidants, vitamin C, and anti-inflammatory compounds like anthocyanins, which have been linked to reduced joint pain, better sleep, and even protection against heart disease. For older adults, that's a serious win. But here's the unexpected twist. Cherry pits contain cyanide compounds. Yes, it sounds dramatic, but stay with us. The hard pits in the center of cherries, and also found in other stone fruits like peaches and apricots, contain amygdalin, a natural compound that can convert into cyanide when it's crushed or chewed. Now, eating cherries and swallowing a pit or two by accident is unlikely to cause any harm. Our bodies can typically handle tiny amounts. But if someone, especially an elderly person with weakened liver or kidney function, were to chew or ingest several pits, it could lead to cyanide poisoning symptoms like headache, dizziness, nausea, or even serious toxicity in rare cases. Why does this matter more for seniors? As we age, our bodies become less efficient at detoxifying harmful compounds, and older adults are also more likely to be on medications that can strain the liver or kidneys. So what might be no big deal for a younger person could potentially pose a greater risk for someone over 65, especially if they're snacking on large amounts of cherries or accidentally biting into pits. And while we're talking long-term risks, it's worth noting that exposure to small amounts of toxins over time, especially in vulnerable populations, has been linked to an increased risk of various chronic diseases, including some cancers. The research is still ongoing, but it's one more reason to be cautious. Not fearful, just aware. Here's how to safely enjoy cherries without the risk. Always remove the pits before serving cherries to elderly individuals, especially those with dental issues or cognitive impairments. If you're making smoothies, use pre-pitted cherries to avoid any accidents. Stick to moderate servings. Cherries are high in sugar too. Teach kids and older adults alike to never bite down on a cherry pit. Cherries are still an amazing fruit with plenty of benefits, but like so many things, a little care goes a long way. With pits removed and portions in check, you can enjoy their sweet flavor without worry. Number 9. Mangoes, rightfully known as the king of fruits. They're tropical, juicy, and practically sunshine in fruit form. Whether eaten fresh, blended into a smoothie, or added to salads, mangoes are an absolute favorite around the world. Nutritionally, they're loaded with vitamin A, vitamin C, and powerful antioxidants that support the immune system, eye health, and skin renewal. Sounds amazing, right? But there's a catch. Mangoes are also high in natural sugars. A medium mango contains about 45 grams of sugar, which is quite a bit for one fruit. And while natural sugar is certainly better than refined, it still impacts blood sugar levels, something that becomes increasingly important as we age. For older adults, especially those with diabetes, insulin resistance, or metabolic syndrome, eating mangoes in large quantities can lead to blood sugar spikes. And that's not just a short-term issue. Studies show that consistently elevated blood sugar contributes to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, two key factors associated with increased risk for cancers such as breast, liver, and pancreatic cancer. As we get older, our bodies often metabolize sugar more slowly. Combined with a decrease in physical activity, this means even fruits like mangoes can quietly contribute to weight gain, fat accumulation, especially around the midsection, and inflammation if not eaten in moderation. Now don't worry, mangoes aren't villains. They're still full of fiber, enzymes like amylase that support digestion, and they make a great nutrient-dense snack. But for elderly individuals, especially those already managing chronic conditions, it's smart to treat mangoes more like an occasional luxury rather than a daily staple. Here's how to enjoy mangoes wisely. Stick to small servings, about 1/2 cup or 1/2 a mango per snack. Pair them with a protein or healthy fat, like cottage cheese, nuts, or chia pudding, to reduce blood sugar spikes. Avoid overly processed versions like dried mango or mango nectar, which often contain added sugars and lack fiber. If blood sugar management is a concern, consider monitoring glucose levels after eating mango to track your body's response. So yes, mangoes absolutely deserve their royal title. But like any ruler, they need to be respected. With portion control and balance, you can enjoy their sweetness without inviting unwanted health risks. Number 10. Tomatoes. Vibrant, versatile, and often hailed as a superfood. Whether they're fresh in a salad, blended into a pasta sauce, or sipped in a glass of tomato juice, tomatoes are everywhere. They're rich in vitamin C, potassium, folate, and most notably, lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that's been linked to reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and even protection against certain types of cancer. Sounds like a slam dunk, right? Well, mostly. While moderate tomato consumption has many health benefits, especially thanks to lycopene, excessive intake, particularly from processed tomato products, might pose risks, especially for elderly men. Here's why. Several studies have explored the relationship between lycopene and prostate health, with mixed results. While some research suggests lycopene may be protective, other studies have shown that excessive intake, especially from highly concentrated sources like tomato paste, sauces, and juices, may be associated with an increased risk of prostate cancer, particularly in older men. This could be due to the way lycopene accumulates in the body or how it interacts with hormonal changes over time. Additionally, processed tomato products often contain added sugars, sodium, and preservatives, which can contribute to other health issues like hypertension, inflammation, and metabolic imbalance, all of which are known cancer risk factors when experienced chronically. And don't forget the acidity of tomatoes, which can aggravate acid reflux or GERD, common issues in older adults. Chronic reflux, if left unmanaged, has been associated with a higher risk of esophageal cancer over time. None of this means you should say goodbye to tomatoes. Far from it. They can still be an incredibly healthy part of your diet when consumed in the right forms and quantities. Here's how to enjoy tomatoes without going overboard. Focus on fresh or lightly cooked tomatoes rather than heavily processed sauces or canned soups. Keep servings of tomato juice or paste occasional, and watch for added sugars or sodium. If you're at risk for prostate issues or dealing with reflux, talk to your doctor about how much lycopene is right for you. Pair tomatoes with healthy fats, like olive oil or avocado, to maximize lycopene absorption while staying heart healthy. So yes, tomatoes are still a nutrient-dense powerhouse, but like all good things, they're best enjoyed in moderation, especially as we age and our health needs become more specific. With a balanced approach, you can soak up all the goodness without the added risks. So there you have it. 10 fruits that could have a surprising impact on the health of our elderly loved ones. Now, don't get us wrong. Fruit is still an incredibly important part of a healthy diet. The key message here isn't to fear fruit, but to understand how it interacts with the aging body. Whether it's blood sugar, medication interactions, or underlying conditions, being aware of these things can make all the difference in helping seniors maintain a vibrant, balanced lifestyle. Moderation really is the magic word. Instead of cutting things out completely, aim for variety. Rotate fruits, mix up the colors, and always pay attention to how certain foods make you or your loved ones feel. Keeping things balanced and personalized is the smartest approach to long-term wellness. And remember, aging doesn't mean giving up on delicious food. It just means being a little more intentional with the choices we make. So next time you're preparing a fruit bowl, shopping for snacks, or planning meals for your family, keep these tips in mind. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, drop a comment below with your thoughts or questions, and don't forget to subscribe for more science-backed, easy-to-understand health tips. Stay vibrant, stay healthy, and, as always, health is wealth. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.